invest some millions of dollars with this hotel and that hotel, Marriott and this thing and that thing and the other thing. After a while, the political process becomes a masquerade. Doesn't make any sense anymore, Patrice. You believe me? Yeah. So consensus have to decide at what stage we are going to cap the kind of foreign investment.
The NDP says the ULP is bringing too many hotels and too much investment into the country. These hotels and investment creates jobs and opportunities for Vincentian. The NDP wants to put a cap on hotel investment. They are not worth the risk.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And faster than you could have fixed a cup of coffee, we are back. All right. It is now time for us to hear from Doc with his commentary. Just to know that I know that several persons will call in. We can take the calls around 9:20 in our Talk to Us. All right. So for those of you who have been trying to call, particularly in the last segment, we will take those calls at 9:20 during the open forum for Talk to Us. All right, Doc, over to you.
Thank you very much, Roleza.
Yes, Doc.
Last week, I drew mention to the ULP Manifesto, and I said I would come back and talk a little about the NDP Manifesto and this comparison. And on Wednesday night, last Wednesday, I went into the ULP's health program. I am going to be dealing on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. with the NDP's health approach and so forth. But it's fascinating with the NDP Manifesto. They put it up, they take it down. They put it up again and they take it down. And people were able to capture different sections and see the corrections that they made having taken it down. You know, minor corrections, I would say.
Yeah, because they had Leacock name spelled wrong, Sinclair with an E.
Yeah.
So there's one of the minor corrections that was made?
Minor corrections. I'm not talking about infinitesimally small correction. But like saying that they were going to student loans 8.5% down to 4%. They basically changed that we will continue that program. And several other things like that I'm not going to go into details. You understand? Things that they highlighted on their little poster. But I was looking for their foreign policy. I was looking for something on foreign affairs and their foreign policy to give me an indication how are they leaning on some of the big issues. The United States, Venezuela, Trinidad, CARICOM, and more particularly, mainland China versus Taiwan. There was nothing. And I stand corrected because I read this thing and went through it. I couldn't find it. But every now and again, reading fast, I might skip out. So I may have missed it. So somebody correct me and say on page this, that, and so it's there. There's a whole page on it, but I missed it. But one thing struck me was that under their tourism plan, and you heard the ad from the ULP earlier on, it says ULP's limited initiative and lack of creativity on tourism have prevented the vital economic pillar of tourism from realizing its potential. And I said, what the hell is this? And it says, while we welcome foreign investors, we will work to ensure local businesses and workers are involved. Fine, okay. But the point was that they're saying there's a lack of initiative, limited initiative. The AIA was limited initiative. The attraction of sandals, the awards that have been given, and more recently, sandals getting that award as not just the best tourism site in the Caribbean, but in the world. I mean, I was fascinated by that. How does somebody get that over the Philippines, or out of Mexico and other things like that? My boy, they got it. But they basically have stated, like in that ad that came from the ULP before, that they're going to put a cap on foreign direct investment. And that is where this is a major problem in terms of them thinking that tourism is a pillar. Everybody, the jobs that are being created today and the jobs that will be created from beaches, the Marriott and the Cumberland Hotel are enormous. The opportunities for the creatives with performances. I know guys who the Rose Hall drummers go down to Sandals, I think every Sunday, and perform, and they're able to make money. Imagine these other hotels, Dianna and her team, and so forth, and other individuals, and the creative things that would take place, like when they had that CARICOM thing down at Sandals where I met Dianna. You will see these things taking place. But let me go on. What I was disappointed in their thing, they had a section on 3 things, priorities done in each constituencies. And these priorities were, we will do a little road here, or we fix a hard court. As priorities, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't really understand it. Those are things that I'd consider as the norm, run of the mill, but they may be important to those individuals as their limited 3 priorities. But let me go to one of the things that is to expand the home care program. They had been critical of that home care program many years ago when I was there. You know, under the ULP, they're going to double the amount of home care for the elderly persons. Double it. They say they're going to expand it. Fine. You know? But when it comes to things like education, I heard them talking in the past about they're going to set up a center of excellence for sports and a center of excellence for the Tech Voc Center and so forth. And I said, that's strange. You have a technical college. And the backlash that they got from that, you don't see those 2 ideas coming into things. The reason why is that they wanted to send all the sports people to one school, right? What would happen to sports in other schools? They would lose all their top athletes. The competition between St. Martin's and Grammar School would go. Everybody who's an athlete and so forth would go to just one school. They've dropped that idea. You don't see it in the manifesto. They were pushing that 6-7 months ago. So I see a lot of ideas have really gone, didn't make it to the final thing. I was very, very disappointed. But in housing, they're gonna say, for the first time in many manifestos, they're gonna say we're gonna build more affordable housing across the country. ULP's announced they're gonna be building some 10,000 houses, including apartments for young professionals and so forth. And I know there are people who are very interested in that. They may not necessarily want right now to own a home, but they would like to own a studio or a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartment for them and their young daughter or son, or the case might be. And, you know, those were things, how do you make it affordable? But the important thing, they said that they are going to set up a fund for disaster. We all know 1% of that goes into disaster fund. They say they're going to set up a fund because they say they're going to reduce VAT. That 1% of VAT for disaster is eliminated. So really 2% that basically will go towards so-called food and so forth, as they say. But that 1% for disasters allows us to get off the ground very quickly. They're saying they're going to set up a special fund for disasters, and they're going to offer loans, low interest loans for repairs of house. So all the people around who are saying, boy, you got to repair my house before elections, you know, or you do this before election. I'll be telling people, don't worry, ULP will continue this program. But you know, NDP is going to offer you a loan. They're going to offer you a loan. You will pay back for materials you get and repairs of your house. And that is I don't know how much time I have there, but you know, I could go on. But the absence of foreign policy, the absence of a lot of things, what they're looking at in terms of housing, poor, poor, loans, and so forth. And I will talk about health and privatization of the hospital and so forth. But for tourism, you know, and the subject of creating new jobs, I don't understand this. What better method of creating jobs we've done so far than in tourism? We have been an agricultural nation. The AIA has given us that opportunity to get into tourism, and we're going to see continued growth. But their capital investment will stifle that. But they're talking about they will speed up the process at the port to reduce costly fees. My God, the port is now highly computerized. There's wire all over the place, new systems, data systems, and so forth. 2 cranes there to offload, more storage spaces. You don't have to go down to Camden Park and Kingston to clear 1 barrel and a box in Kingston and a barrel in Camden Park. You're telling me the process hasn't been speeded up and the efficiency hasn't been improved? My gosh, I gotta tell you something. I'm disappointed. I would have done like Nancy Pelosi. I would have gone and done a tearing up act. You know, I would have taken out the page, you know, I would have torn the thing up. But I can't do that to a good manifesto. They're limited. And guess what? By the manifesto I got is online. I can't tear it up. So let me stop there and open up the question.
All right. Well, no, I don't really have a question because I'm supposed to be able to add some volume to this discussion. I would have needed to sit down and do the comparison side by side in terms of what NDP is saying and what ULP is saying. So because I haven't done it, I am going to just
I did it.
Not necessarily accept what you're saying, but I have to. I hear what you say.
Yeah, what is it? Nothing on foreign policy, Roleza.
On page 33, they did speak a bit on it.
Diaspora.
Maybe it's not
Page 33.
it's not in depth in terms of that. In terms, well, I suppose what you would really
Friendly
like to hear.
international relations.
Hold on, let me finish talking. In terms of what you would really want to hear is like their policy with regards to China and Taiwan. Is that what you want to read in black and white?
What they had on the friendly international relations? CIP. They had citizenship by investment, everybody. Now, I decided not to talk about it because some people just get vexed.
Where you saw that in their thing?
On citizenship by investment.
Where you have the page there?
It's in 2 sections. Let's go to 33 and see.
So page 33 actually does talk about the friendly international relations, investment opportunities, and strengthen diaspora ties, right? But I suppose in terms of the specific questions that you have, it's not listed there in black and white.
Yeah. Matter of fact, there's a whole section on citizenship by investment. But if you notice the second to last, it should be the second to last thing on page 33. Let's just double check and see.
Broaden and deepen diplomatic relations with existing countries and build on historic ties to seek and unlock new opportunities from our relations with the United Kingdom. That's what is there.
Okay, let me just see where 33 is. You know, where I had. I made a note of it. You know, I made a note of it. I'm not ready to get it.
All right. I suppose if you had let me know ahead of time that this is what you were going to talk about, I could have done the comparisons properly.
They're talking about country in industry CIP, one China. Let me see. Let's just see where that is. 33. I don't know why I'm bypassing this all the time. You know, I'll probably find it and so.
Okay.
You know.
All right. Maybe any break after we come back, then look for it and you could bring it up, right? So, so even in this discussion that we're having here, then it's again a lot of this. The onus falls on you, the persons who are going to vote on Thursday, to do the comparisons for yourself. Doc and I can engage in a conversation. Doc and I can say either agree on a point or disagree on a point, but the manifestos are out. All right. So. For you, it is for you to sit down, do the comparisons, go through them step by step, bit by bit, and see which party in particular has this.
I made a mistake by saying the third, second last. It's the fourth from last. You see, review our international partnerships to ensure we are fostering the best possible environment to create jobs and bring investment into our country, including through a citizenship by investment program, well regulated by the ECCB. And the next one then goes that they're going to have relationship with it. Philip Jackson was saying this all the time, you know. We're going to link up with the European Union, who basically will help to do the due diligence for us on the CIP, so that the people who we sell passports to are accepted by the European Union. The European Union just passed an act to stop it all together. So that third to last thing about diligency, review, and actively pursue the provisions of the Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. They were talking also about CIP with the European Union, but abiding with what dictates the European Union is saying. You know what I mean? I am saying there's a whole other section on citizenship. They couldn't back away from it. They decided to be silent on China in this manifesto, so as to say afterwards, well, we reviewed our foreign policy and we decided to do that. Come out and say it as it is. Be like a man and a woman, and basically come and say what you want to say, what you've been saying, what Arnhem said.
So we asked for the debate, and what you do last week?
You
shut me down.
The debate, they asked for the debate.
We asked for the debate. Put the same questions directly to them.
This subject needed more than 2 minutes. And yes or no. It need more than 2 minutes. It's a big, big topic. Citizenship by investment. Every time I've spoken about it, people have called and said, "You're always talking about citizenship by investment." They didn't want to doing that anymore. You know, what's important is that it is there in 3 sections of this manifesto, a whole section on it, a whole chapter on it, and what I just read out there in terms of review and investment, including through a citizenship by investment program, well regulated by the ECCB.
So they're going to have it. There's the answer.
Everybody, did you hear that Roleza agrees?
Doc,
they are going to have it.
Based on their manifesto.
They're going to have it. But guess what? Revenue this year in all the countries have just plummeted. Because if you have it, say goodbye to your own travels to the United States, to Europe. They are going to block you. They're going to block you. But the citizenship by investment, Henley and Partners and others, they have over 4,000 pounds to quickly sell. They want fire sale on the passport to make some quick dollars before everything totally runs out.
All right,
and
Doc.
Hell with St. Vincent after that.
All right, Doc. All right. Folks, come Thursday, we would know, and by next Monday, we would know what kind of conversation we're having, okay?
Listen, I wasn't ranting. I came here after massacre, nice day. But those questions that were asked about CIP and where it is and so forth is right there. You know, I made a mistake and said it's the second last point, but it's the fourth last one.
All right.
That's my mistake, but it's right there.
All right, Dr. Thompson. It'll be interesting to know what conversation we have next Monday, you know, honestly.
Well, boy, I will come in here.
Really?
I'll come in here.
I brace myself properly for you for next Monday.
I will not. Don't worry, I won't have my tail between my legs. You know what I mean?
Come what me?
No, I won't have that. I basically would come in. I'm not a braggadocious individuals beat our chests and so forth. You see what I told you, and this.
And if it is not if it's not a reason for you to beat your chest, what is going to happen? We see you Monday.
As a medical doctor, on a few occasions, I have been wrong. It's true.
And if you are wrong,
sometimes, but guess what? It's to recognize you are wrong early and make a correction. You know what I mean? In the case of medicine, in the case of politics, I'm sure people will make some wrong choices, and some people will make some right choices. But I hope that because someone hasn't made a choice, that they can be discriminated against. That whether they're a senior civil servant or a casually employed, a cook in a kitchen, they ain't gonna lose their job. A watchman or the case might be, I hope you ain't losing your job because NDP is looking out for you.
Is the way how you answer this? All I asking is what we're going to happen from Monday now. But anyways, I'll leave it. Done. Doc, we done. We done. Yes or no? You have to slide it in.
I slide it in. I said it before. I am saying it again. That's the point. I slid it in before, and I say it again for reinforcement.
All right, folks. As I said, we will know what kind of conversation we have in next Monday. Okay. With that, we are way over time. Time for NSVG. It is 9:08.